There's so many places in Gorilla Tag we all know and love. Maps like forest, canyons, and mountains are ones I see so many of us bring up when we talk about the game. Well, if we don't count community maps. You see, a while back, another Axiom blessed Gorilla Tag with the newly added Virtual Stomp, a place that finally allows us to play custom maps with no mods. I'm not joking. And now that we had the power to make whatever we wanted, you bet people were gonna make some good maps. While so many of these places got the attention they deserved, it begs the question many of us have been asking ourselves lately. What happens when a map doesn't get this popular? What if the world you created never got seen by anyone, and instead faded into obscurity? Well, for every map that made it big like Monkey Up, there were dozens, if not hundreds, of other amazing custom maps that shared the same fate of being forgotten. However, I've been feeling a bit adventurous lately, and I want to figure out what lies beyond the maps we already know and love. Let's see what's really been left in the dust, and explore some cool but forgotten Gorilla Tag maps. I'm gonna start with a place that really gives off that forgotten vibe from the start, and I can't think of a better map to visit than Abandoned Island by ML Gorilla. Now, this map is interesting because in spite of it being fairly unknown, it almost feels like the forgotten nature of the map fits what the creator was going for in a way. You're on what seems to be an old island out in the middle of nowhere. The trees are dead, there's no sign of life anywhere, and all there's left is what remains of an empty, rundown tower. Everything on this island was made to be barren. It's empty, but it also has this sense of life hidden under all this rubble. And yet, despite Abandoned Island carrying these qualities with it, it still plays well as an affection map. Sadly, Abandoned Island kinda fulfilled its destiny in a way, and it never really got found by the community. And I can only say with how unique of a vibe it gives off, this map didn't deserve to be left abandoned. But like I mentioned at the start, there are plenty of different places that also suffered the same fate as Abandoned Island. But something I've always found interesting about these hidden maps is how different they can play out from each other. When you have one parkour map where you scale up a bunch of random objects, there will always be another map where you just chill and explore pixelated castles. I've always thought about how we, as creators, always have new ideas to bring to the table. Things that can revolutionize the way we play and design games as a whole. This is why I enjoy maps like Hedge Maze by One Noble Duck. Unlike a lot of custom maps you may find out there, this is one of the rare instances where instead of it feeling like it came out of Gorilla Tag, it's almost like you've entered a whole new world. Especially since it has this weird and surreal art style I don't even think I could explain with words. Man, when I first found this map, it was just enough to start my obsession over stylized maps. When I say stylized maps, I'm talking about places that just don't feel Gorilla Tag. I'm not the first player to question what's even considered normal for Gorilla Tag, but if you asked me what I thought the game's style was, I'd say it's a blend between low-poly PlayStation games and Minecraft, surprisingly. With that standard though, a lot of custom maps really only followed what another Axiom put into their main game, and they all pretty much ended up feeling the same. So when I found one that just did not fit into that familiar style, it felt really satisfying managing to see something different. Honestly, I could see maps like Hedge Maze continue to push the limits of what you could really do in Gorilla Tag, and I wouldn't mind seeing more experimental stuff like this in the future, but I completely understand that's not what everyone's looking for. For instance, some of us just want to have fun messing around playing minigames. And I'm totally not saying this just to talk about the next map, but I found some of those places as well. Like this hide and seek map. This is the Tophat, a hide and seek map that's set inside a Tophat. No, I'm not joking. This whole map is literally just a Tophat, and if you know anything about me, I'm a pretty big fan of them. Well, if that wasn't enough, what's even better about this map is that literally everything inside the Tophat is just a bunch of random assets from in-game. It's almost like you took those random only up maps where you just randomly turn the concept on its head. Literally.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'm sorry. I don't got much more to say about this one. It's just a funny map I wanted to share out of respect for Tophats. Although, another map I want to give my respects to is Mine 0.5. Now, I know what you're probably asking yourself. Mine 0.5? Don't we already have a Mines in Gorilla Tag? Well, yeah, we do. In fact, I was originally going to go on a whole ramble about how great mines in the original caves were, and how caves got taken away from us at one point. But oh wait, the devs brought it back for a limited time through the rotating section. And now we only have so much time before they pretty much take it away from us again, and who knows when they're gonna bring it back, and they just made it a permanent map again. You don't want to know how much I've suffered because the devs have the worst timing possible. But screw it, this video's been taking too long. I'm still gonna cover this fan edition of Mines because it's cool. Mine 0.5 is like if you took the original Mines, but if it had multiple floors to explore, slippery cliffs, and even falling rocks coming from the ceiling. How cool is that? The map also gives off this dark and eerie vibe through its unnerving environments, which, might I add, a lot of people already felt that way for the original Mines. The creator definitely knew what they were doing with this map. I can tell they were being genuine to the Mines experience, and I'd even say Mine 0.5 would be a valid spiritual successor to that map, if it never went away. Hey, wait a minute, who even made this map in the first place? One noble duck? First it was Hedge Maze and now this? Good stuff, man. I gotta hand it to you. Anyways, now that we've checked out Mine 0.5, I found it surprising that not many players knew about this map in particular. But if I'm being honest, I also wouldn't have been able to find it or any of the other maps in this video if I hadn't done my research. When I was making this video, I honestly could have just gone down the easy route and picked maps other people have already praised in the past. To be honest, if you're gonna say spend your time watching a movie or a show, you'd probably pick the one that already has 10,000 mostly positive reviews rather than the more unknown one that only has like 10. I feel I'm more likely to enjoy something already knowing how it's being perceived by everyone else. And that's a big problem. We aren't willing to take risks on what we spend our time on. When we don't branch out, we stay safe in our little bubble of stuff we already enjoy. But that comes with a cost of never being able to find something new to indulge in. That's something I wouldn't want any of us to go through personally. Only being allowed to choose out of a pretty limited selection of games or maps that may be popular to play in, but you wouldn't have the opportunity to go far out beyond that initial selection. And that brings me to the official Gorilla Tech list of verified maps. Now, these verified maps come from mod.io, and they're pretty much a place where the most popular fan maps reside. At the time I'm recording this video, that list only has 31 maps. And while that number may seem like a lot to some of you, considering that's already double the maps currently in the main game, this list doesn't take into account the vast amount of hidden maps and underrated creators that I think some of us would say deserve more attention. In fact, I'll do it myself. We're about to go on a lightning round of covering some hidden maps that I personally would add to the list, but I'll only briefly mention for the sake of time. Alright? Let's do this. Bounce Tester, a map that tests how high you can jump. Autumnal Hills, a small Gorilla Tech styled autumn map. Monkey Temple, an abandoned home where old monkeys used to live. Horror minigames. Pretty self-explanatory. Soccer, or football, basically knock off Orion Drift. And Death's Cradle, a surprisingly difficult parkour map that's actually well made. Well, that was a lot of maps. I'll have each of them linked in the description if you want to download and mess around with them. But we actually have one more of these forgotten areas I want to go in more depth with today. And that last map is Forced Hike. Now, I'm just gonna tell you right off bat, this isn't really a map that's meant for playing tag in at all. It's a place you're meant to experience through walking down its little trail. It's not a long one by any means. If you want to get straight to the end, it's only going to take a couple minutes of walking to finish it. But I don't think that's the goal of the map. It's not something to speed past by just to get it over with. It's just a little hike in a virtual forest, and nothing more. Oftentimes, video games are just about overcoming a set challenge, a specific goal that might be tied into its gameplay, level design, or story. From what I've noticed, it almost seems like these objectives are something you need to complete if you want to continue having fun in that game. But let me ask you this. Do you play games to have fun, or do you play them just to feel like you've accomplished something? You don't need to follow the game's structure or story to get your own enjoyment out of it, just like you don't have to finish this short hike to complete another map in Gorilla Tag. I've found my own enjoyment just from checking out the little green hut, swimming in the shallow pond, or taking in the map's simple environments. Not everyone's gonna find the same enjoyment out of the same things you and I might find fun in this game. So it's nice that there's some maps out there that do what I just described. It's only a shame that they get left in the dark, and the people that would want to play them never could due to their unknown nature. Well, I think that's a wrap. This was just a cool look back at some forgotten and niche custom maps I found, and I hope it was as fun to watch as it was to explore these places. If you're just bored one day and have nothing else to do, I'd recommend doing something similar. Really, this video was just an excuse for me to start covering some broader topics on this channel, and I think I'm gonna continue with that mindset, so don't be surprised if I start making videos on other games outside of Gorilla Tag at some point. But with all that being said, I hope you'll enjoy this holiday season, or whenever you're watching this, and remember, don't be afraid to try new things. Thanks for watching.